Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
That's a pill with two screens and it's open and you gotta swallow it.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Very good, yes.
And Caleb.
Hi.
And we are very good, apparently, yes?
Very good, yes.
Very good. Very good. Hey, we're here to talk all things tech this week and everything else that might not be tech because not a lot's happened.
That's it. It is the slow time.
It is that season. Actually,
that season has been going on for a very long time.
I was going to say it's
going
to be
all
quite...
of the phones. It's been slow for me. It's been slow for Wes. Landon has like a giant pile of phones like every week.
Yes.
Come on, this isn't fair.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there are some things that are happening right now in the gaming sphere. So right now, obviously, Quakecon, that is going currently. They've been doing their Quake Champions. They have released little tidbits here and there, but nothing huge for announcements or anything. I'll tell you what. Let's kind of. I'll start us off here. I'll get into this instead before getting into Microsoft and gaming. I just thought this was interesting. Let's talk about Walmart, shall we?
Really?
Did you guys know that Walmart has now partnered with Paramount Plus?
What?
Yeah. So if you, listener, if you are actually a Walmart Plus subscriber, you get Paramount Plus for free on your subscription.
See, this is what happens when one company owns Vudu, the other company is Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Because nobody has either of those. So they have to try and do something to get people to use them.
I totally forgot that Vudu existed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ever since. You said that, and I was like,
and everybody
Vudu's
else.
a thing. I totally forgot about that. But Paramount Plus, I do have Paramount Plus.
See, I'm just now finding out that Walmart has a subscription service.
So, okay.
That's been a thing for a while.
It's a subscription service. Let's see. Bring it up here. So it's like the service provides free shipping on orders.
Yeah.
No minimum orders, saving on gasoline, fee-free grocery delivery, things like that.
It's basically Amazon Prime. It's just
basically Amazon Prime
for
Walmart.
Yeah.
Weird.
So
that's bizarre.
So that's what it is. I mean, I've heard the people that do have it, they like it. You know, the Walmart Plus thing, and they use it. And so now you get the Paramount Plus with it. So,
you know, of all the people in the world who you would think would have a Paramount Plus subscription, I feel like I would probably be pretty close to the top of the list because that is the only way to watch Star Trek right now.
It's true.
And
they let me know all the time.
I am like 99% positive that the only people subscribed to Paramount Plus are people that signed up for the free month and then forgot to cancel it, and people who are watching Star Trek. That's it. I am pretty sure that is it.
No, I don't watch Star Trek. But what I watch is the old Nickelodeon cartoons, like Doug and Ren and Stimpy, and all the old Nicktoons. Because some of them I'll watch with my kids. Obviously, I'm not watching Ren and Stimpy with my kids, but Doug, old SpongeBob, things like that. I'm like, oh, I remember this. What do you guys think? Just kind of, it's interesting because I want to get like their perspective on certain things, and it's kind of fun to be like, hey, what do you think of this? They really like Doug.
That's fair. And like my kids, I did that with Disney Plus. My kids, turns out, cannot relate to Pepper Ann at all, which is fair. They're a little bit young for Pepper Ann.
Pepper Ann.
But also, I don't think they'd like Pepper Ann was a product of its time, and I don't think it works at all. Like, I was watching it, I'm like, this theme song still slaps, but everything else about this is super weird by today's standards. But Recess, They were
Fantastic.
skeptical going into Recess, but after like 2 or 3 episodes, they're all like, "Can we watch another one?" And I'm like,
No, that's cool.
yes, you can.
Recess is a good one.
It's great.
No, also, I'm kind of a fan of stupid humor, and so Beavis and Butthead is on there. So that one's my guilty pleasure. Sorry,
that tracks. Actually, I would have guessed that.
Yeah,
genuinely.
So, what does that mean? Hey,
No.
stupid humor, love it. Anyway, so Walmart Plus subscribers, you can now get the Paramount Plus, which, I mean, sure, streaming service, why not? Next thing I did want to bring up, actually, it's kind of big. It does have a little bit of gaming, but it's like all media. I thought this was interesting. So we've talked about Embracer Group on here. Embracer Group, dear listener, actually it is a big company that owns a lot of different companies. So, for example, there is a lot of gaming companies they own. One of the most recent things they bought before the thing I'm about to say was Gearbox, which is the Borderlands series and things like that. They also own Dark Horse Media and all the comics there. Coffee Stain Holding. I mean, once we get into that, there's like 3D Realms, like huge, so much money and so many Saber Interactive, bunches of stuff here, which then from there is like even more like THQ Nordic, huge, just everything that they own. I think they actually just bought. We talked about was the Tomb Raider from Square Enix, all their stuff. They bought that. Well, they just made another huge acquisition, which threw everybody off. They bought all the rights to the movies, the games, and all media and television stuff for all of J.R.R. Tolkien's stuff. So Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the movies. So Warner Brothers doesn't have that anymore.
Yep.
And what's interesting, Amazon is making a TV show.
Yep.
And so of this, but so there's a lot of weird things happening with the Lord of the Rings and going to Embracer Group.
I've got to say, just given the stuff that I have seen in terms of like fantasy series on Amazon Prime that they've produced and stuff like that, like the Wheel of Time and whatnot, I was never super hopeful that we were going to get more than one season of this Lord of the Rings show, just because Amazon seems to be bankrolling stuff based on flashy presentations from the showrunners and not any kind of confidence that the showrunners actually know what they're doing. And that
True.
That shows. It shows. Like, it's not that the shows that they're making are terrible. Like, I don't want to, like, there were good things about the Wheel of Time show. Plenty of them. Things that I really liked and appreciated. There were also a lot of problems and very concerning things and decisions that were made. And so I was never super hopeful we were going to get a good first season of the Lord of the Rings show to say anything of a second season. But now I'm even less confident that we're ever going to see a second season because, like, yeah, technically everything that was previously licensed to be done for Lord of the Rings is still happening. Like, that show's gonna release, that's not changing. But now Embracer Group has the ability to just be like, oh, we didn't like the first one, so no, you don't get rights for a second show or a second season.
Yeah.
So that's wild. And I'm just glad that I have the extended edition of the trilogy on DVD and Blu-ray, and I don't need to worry about it,
True.
So
well, I just thought this was interesting. Just and like they bought everything, even up to 2009 Electronic Arts Games, the 2003 Sierra Entertainment adaptation,
which actually is pretty good.
Yeah,
if you haven't played that,
well, even the MMO that's going, like all that.
Yeah,
that was, I think it was from like Turbine. I mean, just everything. The trading card game, like it's theirs, everything.
Yep.
That
must have been such an expensive. Did you see a number of what they had to pay for it? I haven't seen anywhere anybody's been.
They said they're in talks of getting it, and I was looking, and they didn't have a distinct number on the stuff I was looking at. but
Yeah.
it's got to be like $1 billion.
It's got to, like, honestly, this feels like just with the brand recognition that the Lord of the Rings commands, and just honestly that the name J.R.R. Tolkien commands.
Yeah.
I feel like this is honestly going to be in like the $20 billion range. Like, it feels like it should be that big. So I don't know. We'll see.
Let's see. I'm going to do a quick search, see if it actually like.
Yeah, the stuff that I saw, I never saw a number for that anybody was talking about. I didn't look super hard, but
I mean, just as they acquired rights, I'm not seeing
yeah,
like a number.
they may not have released that.
Still, that's. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. I guess I really like the series, and I wasn't too hopeful on this, like you were saying, either on the Amazon thing. And it's like, I don't know.
I think it's fair to say that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is among the best pieces of cinema in the history of the planet, and probably will continue to be among the best pieces of cinema forever. Like, I don't think that movie making is ever going to get significantly better than that. You know? Like, other stuff will match that. Other stuff will be that good, but I don't think anything is really better than, it's just so well done. And I feel like that sort of thing is rare. Like, that is such a perfect storm of events and people that are involved, companies that are involved, like the producers and the directors and the writers, and everybody has to come together in such a perfect way for something like the Lord of the Rings trilogy to get made. And it's so rare that even when you have most of the directors and the producers and the writers come back and try to do it again, you get the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Has some good moments, but it's just way too bloated for its own good. So
I think that if they had that, what was it, 9 years? Was it? Or how many years? It probably wasn't 9. It was, how many years did they do the trilogy? So if they had that much time with the Hobbit, I bet they could have. But
well, they started working on the trilogy, like Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens started working on like the script and the story and stuff for it, like years before they were able to actually get it greenlit. But
so even longer,
once they had it greenlit, it was a matter of like 2-3 years, and they were like, okay, we're filming, and then they filmed it all in the space of a year, like the whole trilogy, and then launched it. It's just that by the time The Hobbit happened, the studio had it in their head that it needed to happen a certain way in order to be profitable, and they were wrong. But my point is really that you're not going to see, like, just because those movies were Lord of the Rings is not the reason that they're so good. You know, the reason that they're so good is partially because, the Lord of the Rings has an interesting story to tell with good characters and stuff like that people kind of latch onto and really like, and a really interesting world that people enjoy. But also good writers, good actors, good directors, good production, good, the producers themselves were willing to kind of keep their fingers out of the pie and stuff like that. All of that had to coalesce into just such a perfect way in order to get Lord of the Rings out of the other end. Yeah. And that doesn't happen. That does not happen very often. So, like, even with the best wishes in the world, the Lord of the Rings TV show was never going to be as good as the trilogy. Like, nothing is ever going to live up to that. At some point in the future, some idiot at, I guess, Embracer Group now, not Warner Brothers, is going to be like, let's remake the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They're going to do it because they're tone deaf, and everybody's going to be like, why are you doing it'll be, listener, if you were paying attention on Twitter a couple of years back when somebody, an executive at, I think it was Lionsgate, was all like, ooh, I just read this script for a remake of The Princess Bride, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but let me tell you, it was great. And the entire internet imploded. Like,
I actually didn't know that happened.
Nobody on Twitter wanted a remake of The Princess Bride. It's one of those films that is honestly pretty much perfect. You can't do a remake of The Princess Bride and have it be better.
Right.
It just won't happen. I did see somebody point out that actually you could do a sequel to The Princess Bride that would be very good by sort of like not doing a sequel to the story of The Princess Bride. Like it would actually be a remake of what happens within the book itself. But the sequel portion would be like the framing story of the grandpa reading the story to his grandson kind of thing who's sick, and just kind of have it be like a different situation where like I'm trying to remember it was Queen Latifah. They're all like, if you have Queen Latifah like at work talking about how her granddaughter is sick and she's going over that night to watch her, and like, you know, what can she do to make her granddaughter feel better? And then Fred Savage, who was the kid in the original movie, is nearby and is all like, oh, I've got a great idea, and hands her the book and is all like, you should read this book to her. And, you know, that's what my grandpa did for me. It was great. And so then she goes, and then it's the movie is then the story as seen through the eyes of Queen Latifah's granddaughter as narrated by Queen Latifah, which obviously changes a lot of stuff about this, like the way the story is presented and that sort of thing. But it's still, that's a sequel, not really a remake. So like you can't remake these things.
Yeah, but that's a little bit smarter on the writing, like to do that. So, you know.
Yeah, and like that one would be interesting, but like, you know, I don't know. It still could flop. It still could be terrible, but at least if that's terrible, you know, the studio wasn't trying to replace this fundamentally perfect thing on the other side. So I don't know that Embracer Group buying Lord of the Rings rights is really going to change anything. Like, I still think at some point in time, they're going to try to remake the trilogy. It's going to be awful. Everybody's going to be like, why did you do that? These movies were fundamentally perfect to begin with. And whatever, they're still going to keep churning out other TV shows and games and mobile games and stuff like that, kind of at the same rate that they've been doing over the past 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's going to change. And I don't think the qualities, it's not going to be affected, you know? It'll just be the same. So if you're happy with the way Lord of the Rings stuff gets produced now, listener, I don't think you have any reason to be concerned about this.
Yeah. I don't think there's much of the concern. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's huge.
It's pretty random. Like, you don't typically hear about this kind of purchase because most of the time when people purchase like, oh, the video game rights or the movie rights or whatever to a series of books, nobody pays that close of attention to it. But Lord of the Rings, yeah, we notice that.
Yeah, that's a big one. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening there. We can go ahead and we'll move on. I don't have really much on Microsoft side news itself on there. I do have a little bit of the gaming on there, nothing huge, but we'll get into that later. Landon, what you got for us?
I have actual Google news.
Woohoo!
It's been a minute. And this isn't hardware, which surprising, I know. That's usually what I talk about this time of year is hardware because all the hardware comes out this time of year.
Yeah.
No new phones this week. Thank goodness. But there is some new software. Android 13 is now officially available to download. Wes, have you downloaded it yet? No, I didn't think so.
No, I didn't.
I didn't even wait for the response because I knew the answer already.
Oh, come on. Look, I'll look at it right now. Let's see. Can I even download it? Sometimes it doesn't even tell me.
Well, because you need to go look for it. You're just supposed to do this. Come on, Wes. Anyways.
Come on.
We've already talked a little bit about what is in Android 13 a couple months ago when it was talked about at Google I.O. But I just want to mention a few key features that I like from this new update. One of which is in the notifications sphere. They're now going to have opt-in notifications. This is similar to how it is on iOS, where when you download a new app and you first open it, it will ask you if you want to get notifications from this app. This previously in Android was an opt-out type thing, where you had to go into settings and say, no, I don't want notifications, which actually it wasn't that difficult because usually you would get your first notification from the said app, and at the notification, you can swipe to the settings for that app to turn those off or not. So it wasn't that much more difficult, but this is just making it even easier. When you open the app, it'll ask you, do you want to receive notifications from this app? You can say yes or no. Awfully nice.
Yeah.
Another cool feature that I don't necessarily think is going to be super, like, I don't think a lot of people are going to use this, but I still think it's really important, is the ability to choose the language on a per app basis. So in individual apps, you can change what language you're using that app in. The example that I've seen the most, and one that I previously talked about in another episode of the podcast, was in a messaging app. Say you have family that lives in a different country or primarily just speaks a different language, and if you want to be talking with them in that language, you can do it you can go into that app and make it so that app itself is in a different language than what you may primarily speak or what the rest of your phone is using. And I really like that. I think it's really cool.
Oh, that is cool.
And then the other one that I've been seeing more of recently is they now have a clipboard editor. So if you are to, like, say, copy and paste something, after you copy something, it goes into your clipboard, and then you paste it somewhere, and then it goes away. We had this discussion. Did we have this discussion, or did I hear it on different? I don't know. Anyways, it's been there for different, like the clipboard. It's been issues with that on both Android and iOS over the past few years. But both are fixing things, and that's good. But this new feature is a clipboard editor. So if you copy something, you can go into this little, it basically looks like a notes type app. You can go in and edit whatever you copied if you need to. You don't always need to, but sometimes you accidentally copy either too much or not enough or whatnot. And you can go in there, quickly edit it before you go and paste it somewhere else. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is now available to download on your Pixel phones, and it will be coming to other phones a lot sooner than than other Android versions have in the past. But still keep an eye out. If you're not on a Pixel phone, maybe go and look to see when your phone is supposed to get it. Most of these manufacturers do have time frames posted for their main phones already of when this will be available. It's not a huge update. There's nothing like, no major changes in my opinion. It's all a lot of just small little fixes, and I think that's fine because we're kind of at a point in both iOS and Android where we're not going to be getting a lot of big changes here and there unless it's like a major, like, user, like the whole interface kind of change, like the look of it changes basically. But the usability of things are not going to change that much. It's just going to be just little tweaks in here and there to help with bugs and help with just ease of use and stuff like that. Nothing major. And that's, I think, fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And with the new Android version comes a new Android statue. Now, the Android 13 statue is interesting, to say the least. It's kind of, I think it's supposed to be a swing. But what it is they took a 3, tilted it like on its side, and it kind of looks like a butt. Like, I mean,
okay,
listener, you need to go and just look for just type in Android 13 statue. You will find it. And it is interesting. There's not a dedicated 1 anywhere. It just looks like a 3. It's like they took a statue from Android 3, 10 years, however many years ago Android 3 came out, and just tilted it on its side and made it into a swing. And it just doesn't, it's not, whoever approved this had to have been doing this as a joke, and it just happened to get through. I don't know.
And you thought that Google weren't the silly ones anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and say that given the position of the droid's head, you could say but. I think that's actually a bit of an optimistic interpretation of the overall appearance of this thing. It could be
something else as well.
I feel like you draw a couple of different lines there just with your head, and that is not a butt.
Yeah.
That is something else. And that is... Really? Did nobody look at this? No executive anywhere in the company looked at the drawings for this and went, Obviously not.
No, they're all, thinking we're mature, but we're not.
No.
Let's be real.
Oh, come on. Wow.
I mean, honestly, if you're working at Google or any of these tech companies for that matter, they have to have they had to have done this on purpose. They're just as immature as we are and everyone else is. So I mean,
whoever designed it knew what they were doing. I'm confident of that. Whoever approved it, I'm not sure, but well, that's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, listener, like I said, go and just search for Android 13 statue. You'll see it, and tell us what you think it looks like. 'Cause, I mean, there's a few different options to choose from. 13 is not one of them.
Nope.
I mean, you might be able to think of 13 things, but the number 13 is not an option. All right. Now, something else that I wanted to mostly just to bring up to have discussion potentially about is Google they've launched another little ad campaign type thing or kind of making people look at Apple in certain ways about messaging. And I mean, Google has done this for the past couple of years, but they've kind of put another push to it, trying to get Apple to implement RCS into their messaging system rather than using SMS, which I understand to an extent because SMS is a really old technology. It's not secure. And with Apple's big thing being all about privacy, you would think that they would be a little more on board with something like RCS. Now, I will say this as well. RCS isn't the most secure. It's not as secure as iMessage or like WhatsApp or even Facebook Messenger maybe not that. That's a bad example.
I mean, it's secure. It's just only one company can read everything that you send, and that's Facebook.
That's true. But RCS is definitely still way more secure than SMS is. Yeah. And it has some of the same features that you would get with iMessage. Like you can you can react to messages. You can have read receipts. You can see if someone's messaging you, all these little things like that. And that'll work cross-platform. So, I mean, you get some of the iMessage things, but obviously you don't get all of them. And that's what Apple's big thing is iMessage. And there's a lot of people that stay with iOS because of iMessage.
Yeah, RCS is, it's an iterative update of the concept behind SMS. And, it allows a much larger bandwidth of information to be sent. And it allows for a much broader array of message metadata to be attached and stuff like that can be used to facilitate a lot of the chat functionality that we have come to expect from messaging services over the years. And I think that it's fair for Google to have this standard. And I think that it's fair for Google to try and get Apple to use it. It's understandable. And I think that you can make the argument that Google is doing this primarily to improve the quality of life in terms of messaging for all of the Android users out there. And simply by implementing it themselves, just so that Android phones are using it, that's already a big improvement in general. So that's good. And I don't begrudge Google doing this. I don't think it's a bad thing. There are a couple of things about it that strike me as really funny and kind of a waste of money, this whole ad campaign. The first thing being that right after they started this campaign, they released an update to the beta version of Android that actually broke RCS.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. It was a bug. They fixed it. The full released version of Android doesn't have that issue, but it did crack me up to see that because it was literally a day or two later.
Yeah, that was
funny. Oh, Google, your timing. That was perfect. And the other thing is they're kidding themselves if they think Apple cares.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what they're trying to do, obviously, is try to get the public opinion on their side against Apple. And in some ways, it's starting to lean that way. It's still going to take a long time before you really get any headway in that department.
Yep.
But I think, like, I agree with Google that I want Apple to do something. I don't necessarily think RCS is the thing they need to do. What I really want to see is Google and Apple come together and develop something similar to RCS, but that might be either better or more secure, something that they can agree on and just make it work. And then if they were to do that, the carriers they wouldn't, they probably complain about it. I mean, they complained about RCS initially, but they started using it. But I mean, this is really only a major problem inside of the US for the most part, because outside of the US, most people aren't using iMessage. They're not using Google Messages. They're using WhatsApp. They're using WeChat. They're using Facebook Messenger. They're using things like that. They're not using the default messaging services on any phone, because that's just not an issue outside of the US. For some reason it is here. I don't know. But
yeah.
I mean, I want to see something improve in this department, but I don't necessarily think this is going to be the way that it happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the likely long-term outcome of this is that Google and Apple and probably some other, interested companies will get together. They'll put together a standard, some kind of open standard that will then be adopted by both of them. And then we'll see that in iMessage. We'll see that on Android, and that'll be the end of it. I'm guessing 10 years, maybe 10 years, if we're lucky, like that we might see something like that. And it will not be RCS, because by that point in time, RCS will feel as antiquated and garbage as SMS does now.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, Google. I suppose your public opinion campaign has to start somewhere, but you are going to be fighting this fight for a very long time before Apple is going to be swayed at all. Because I'm not sure if you've noticed, Apple doesn't care that much about the public opinion of them as a company or their products. They kind of just do whatever the heck they want, and people buy it or they don't. And sometimes they don't buy it, and you end up with, like the Pippin, and other times they do buy it and you end up with the iPod. And neither of those things were things that people asked Apple for. They just weren't. Nobody went to Apple and was all like, hey, make us a game console. But they released the Pippin anyways, and it was trash. And nobody bought it, and they stopped. They'd never made another one. And nobody asked Apple to go ahead and, make us an MP3 player that, is does these weird things that no other MP3 players are doing and syncs only via FireWire. But they did it, and it took off. Saved the company from bankruptcy kind of takeoff. So, yeah, good luck, Google.
Yeah. The only hope that I do have is Apple has started, over the past 5 or so years, they've started to open up more, at least on their end. Their software is becoming more, not open source by any means, but it's becoming more available to outside of Apple, like the Apple ecosystem. You got Apple Music on Android, you got Apple TV everywhere, you got things like that. And they're starting to play a little bit nicer with other companies, mostly by just allowing their software to be used on other things. So, I mean, I could see this happening down the road, but like Caleb said, it's going to be a while.
I do wonder whether Apple's response to this might not eventually end up being, screw RCS, and they launch an iMessage app for Android. Would that not be the biggest FU to Google?
I mean, yes, it would. But unless there's a way for them to benefit from that, it's not going to happen.
They'll monetize the stickers. So currently, you get stickers and stuff to attach to messages inside of iMess, inside of messages on an iPhone, via downloading apps that have those included, right? There's no separate app store for them or anything like that. But if Apple built an app store for that and sold those sticker packs at $1 a pop, you bet your butt they would make some money off of that. And they might do something like that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to take either Phil Schiller dying or retire,
or leaving the company. Yeah.
Even then, it would probably take him not being on this planet anymore for that to happen. Because
maybe they'll
he's
send
the
him to
main
space, you know?
he's the main one behind keeping iMessage on iOS and the
Yes.
way it is. Because I mean, we learned this a few years ago in the I think it was because of the Epic versus Apple thing. That's where we got those emails from, and it was
Yep.
Phil Schiller saying, "No, iMessage is a lock-in for iOS.
Yeah.
That's what keeps people
Like-
here."
Like you said, I feel like he has been losing that fight inside of Apple slowly as time
Yeah.
has gone on, because we do have Apple Music is available on Android and other platforms, and even to the point now where you can download on Windows an iCloud app that will let you use like
Yeah.
your basic iCloud, like cloud storage functionality and stuff, just the same way as you would Dropbox or whatever. So like he's losing that fight, and we'll see. But it does. Now that I think about it, it does actually kind of strike me that before they will break bread with Google, Apple will just launch iMessage on Google's platform and with its own integrated app store or something like that. Like, oh my gosh, that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the legislation that's going to come down the pipe that's going to force them to let other people put third-party app stores on their devices. They're going to like lose revenue because of that, right? But they're going to fire back by launching their own apps on Android that will include a third-party app store that will let them take revenue from the Android user base. Holy crap. I'm calling it now. That's what's going to happen. And
Honestly,
iMessage will be one of those apps.
That wouldn't shock me at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That's funny. But yeah, I think it's an interesting topic, and it's something that needs to be discussed. And I like I said, I just don't see anything really significant happening. Happening? Yes, so that's the word. Anywhere in the near future.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
fair.
But anyways, that is all of my tech news. But Wes, I have some gaming news.
Whoa. Well, that's good to know.
And guess what? It's even
What?
Google gaming news. And
Google
guess
does
what?
gaming?
Stadia's still a thing?
Guess what? It's not Stadia news.
Oh, of course it's
What?
not. It couldn't be.
No, well, okay. It is Stadia related. I'll say that because they kind of fall into this. But I wanted to mention that inside of Google search, if you were to search for a game, well, first off, I want to say if you say you go into Google search and you search for a movie or a TV show, right now it'll show you where it is available to watch that movie or TV show. So now Google has implemented this same feature, but for games, and where you are able to stream said game. So if you want to go search for whatever game, it will tell you if it's streaming on Xbox Cloud Gaming, on Luna from Amazon, or GeForce Now, or Stadia. It's not, like, from what I understand, it's not showing any preference to one or the other. It's just showing all of the options that are there and have a link to go to that app and start playing the game if you want. And that is a great feature. I mean, I use it all the time for movies and TV shows, like, because it's hard nowadays. There's so many streaming apps. Trying to find where to watch a show is not the easiest thing. So I just go to Google, type the show in, and then I'm like, okay, I have it here, here, here. Well, I have this one, so I'll watch it there. So being able to do that with games now is also, I think, going to be really nice.
Yeah.
When does that come out?
I think it's already available.
I mean, if it's going on live on google.com, typically those things kind of roll out slowly.
Yeah.
And it depends on when your local DNS server has been updated with Google's latest and whatnot.
I mean, that is cool.
I mean, that's another reason for you to not use Bing, Wes.
Wait, what?
I said that's another reason to not use Bing.
True. I mean,
you would think of the companies, Bing would have done this first. They're part of
there.
Microsoft.
Lay off of them. They're getting there.
I can't.
They're focused on a lot of things, like a big acquisition that cost $70 billion.
Not the Bing developers. They don't care.
Let's be honest. The Bing developers are trying to figure out how to just get search results to show up,
Yeah, all three of them.
like, in a useful way.
Not all three search results. There's usually more than that, but all three developers over at Bing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh.
They
need
care
to be
about
updating it.
Microsoft cares about their development team on Bing as much as Instagram cares about their development team for iPad.
Yeah, you really don't hear Bing at all. I don't know. I think they need to change Bing's name. Call it Azure or something. It's probably a little better. Search on Azure.
They should call it Cortana. See if that works.
I mean people still know about Cortana, and Cortana's been dead for a while.
Oh, actually, no. They need to name it Weapon now, right? Like
The Weapon.
the Weapon.
The Weapon. No, but then you know what? It named itself later. So
I know. It's which is the lamest thing ever. That was just like I'm sorry. That's the developers of Halo looking at the response of a very vocal but minority portion of their player base for Halo 5 and going, oh, psych, let's just roll everything back to 0 and we're just going to start over with Halo Combat Evolved. Just that's where Halo Infinite left us. Thanks.
I'm over it. Just keep it coming, I guess.
But anyways, now, like I said, if you want to find where a game is available to stream, go to Google. It'll tell you.
Like Halo, if you want to, you can go Google
that. Well, what? Well, hold on. Okay, No, Steam doesn't have a streaming cloud thing, right? Or does
They
it?
don't. No.
Okay.
They do not.
I was going to say that would pop up because there's a lot of Microsoft games on Steam, so.
I suspect they're going to have a hard time starting one of those just because they have so many games on the service, but their license agreements with the publishers and developers are so different than what you would need for streaming.
No, it's true.
It's going to be really difficult for them to bootstrap something like that. At this point, if you want to play games in your Steam library, you totally can. There's quite a number of them that are available on GeForce Now. And you don't have to buy them again even, which is kind of nice. You just sign into your Steam library through GeForce Now, and then you can play those games streaming. So that's if you do a Google search and it says this game is available for streaming on GeForce Now, odds are pretty good that it's available for Steam streaming. Like it's streaming through GeForce Now, but it's from your Steam library, and you have to own the game in Steam before you can actually stream it. So
gotcha. Yeah. Cool. That is cool though. With everything going streaming and cloud gaming and stuff, it'd be cool to be like, yeah, oh, I have this service. I want to try this game. I mean, yeah, more power to you. And I guess since Netflix does it, that'd be interesting for people to be like, oh, it's on the Netflix gaming thing. Sure, click. I mean, we're at that point where everyone's doing games or movies. Okay. So
why not?
It works. All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and, Caleb, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you want to talk about?
All right. In terms of tech news, listener, I'm not sure if you gathered at this point, but things have been pretty slow. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of when we're expecting to have actual news, for instance, about, say, processors. Let's talk about processors. We're going to have launches from both AMD and Intel. And I guess Apple too, but we'll probably see more about that at their iPhone event at the beginning of September. So AMD is none of this is official. None of these dates are official. These are just reports that have been coming out from leakers and whatnot, just stuff that's internal to the companies. AMD is reportedly going to be announcing their Ryzen 7000 chips on August 29th, which is just over a week away from right now as we're recording this on the 21st. Intel is reportedly going to be unveiling their 13th generation processors on September 27th. And in addition to all of that, Psych, AMD has reportedly pushed the Ryzen 7000 announcement back to September 27th. So I'm guessing that the conversation that resulted in that specific date for AMD happened before the leak from inside of Intel saying that that was the date that they were going to be doing theirs. And I'll bet you money as soon as that came across the AMD executive's desk, they were like, hold on, let's revisit the date that we talked about before, because let's not do it on the 27th. If they both end up doing their launch events on the 27th, they'll probably be at the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific, because that's how all of these tech companies run, especially, you know, the ones that are based on the West Coast. So, I don't know what that'll look like. It'll be really interesting, though.
Right.
So, yeah, no actual news there. None of these dates have been confirmed. Nobody's actually announced anything, but, you know, there's some small drama in what we're seeing there. Honestly, Ryzen 7000 and Intel's 13th gen chips look poised to compete with each other quite nicely. So it's going to be like a good price competitive, like, yeah, let's see who's got the best of whatever, which will make it actually kind of hard to buy a processor, I guess, because it's like, I don't know which one is better for my specific use case. But at the same time, you probably can't get a lemon in the upcoming marketplace. So that's good. Like, we'll take it. But we're going to have to wait and see, based on their official announcements, exactly what that's going to look like.
Gotcha.
All right. My other piece of tech news was, again, another announcement from a company that is not necessarily like news. Tesla has, well, okay, I say Tesla has announced. Elon Musk on Twitter decided to tell the world on behalf of Tesla that they're going to raise the price of their FSD, or full self-driving version of Autopilot, by 25% starting in September. If you've already paid for it by then, you know, you don't have to pay the higher price. I suspect they're probably trying to do this to pay for the development of a feature that nobody is buying, because it's literally not full self-driving. It's literally not what it says it is. It's fancy cruise control. And it is a little bit ahead of like what Mercedes is doing, for instance, but not that much, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And it is baffling to me that Tesla continues to get away with calling it autopilot and full self-driving mode as if they have developed an autonomous vehicle. Listener, they haven't. There's still a steering wheel. There's still pedals. That's how you know it's not autonomous. So, anyways, just a note. Don't pay attention to anything that Elon Musk says on Twitter. That's really the news here.
Don't do it.
Or you can pay attention to it. Just don't really take much of it or any of it
right.
seriously.
Yeah, don't believe it. It's good for a laugh occasionally, but don't believe anything he says on Twitter. That's fair.
I mean, that's been the case for like, what, 5, 7, 8 years? Pretty much as long as Twitter's been in existence.
Yeah, no, that's true. Especially when he says he's going to buy Twitter. Don't believe that, because apparently. So,
I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's anyone in that type of situation that is on Twitter that says stuff like that anyway.
Yeah, basically just don't take anything a billionaire says at face value, ever.
Yes. Let's be real.
They do not live on the same planet as you.
And shortly that may actually be the case too.
Which honestly might improve things like a lot here. So I don't know. So yes, that's my tech news. Yeah, I've got one other item of gaming news, but you know, I'll hold on to that.
No, go ahead. Go right into it. Let's start our gaming segment. Actually, Landon already did, but hey.
I'm going to hold on to that. You get to go first.
I know. I was just messing. Okay, let's get into this. So, like I said before, right now, Quakecon is kind of going on. The big thing for this week that's going on is basically sales at the moment. There hasn't been big announcements. They have announced like certain perks if you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, PC subscriber on there. The perk that you actually get for the PC is the Quake. I was trying to bring it up here. I can't remember what it's called. The Quake Champions. You get the Champions pack, so you get all the characters unlocked. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's the new iteration of Quake with the Quake Champions that's going on. It's very just fast shooter. It's Quake that's happening, but normally that you'd have to buy characters. This actually gives you all the characters. So if you wanted to hop in and play some Quake and get destroyed by everybody, that's the way to do it. Instantly. Yep. So it's pretty cool. The next thing is another perk is if you play Elder Scrolls Online, obviously they're giving you cosmetics, certain pets and things that you can get on there too for your perks. Big sale, Quakecon sale. You can get a lot of games if you haven't. If you are not a Game Pass subscriber, if you will, and you wanted to actually buy some of these games, you can. For example, I mean, you can get any of the Wolfenstein 3. Wolfenstein's out. They're like $6 for the whole game. For all the history stuff. You can buy Elder Scrolls Online for $6. You can get Doom 3 for like $2. So just a big sale that's happening, obviously, with QuakeCon on there. So pretty cool stuff. Next week, I believe, is the Gamescom. I almost lost the name of that, but it's Gamescom. So we're assuming, but Xbox, like I said, will be there. They said that they're going to have more details and stuff, but last Gamescom, they said that wasn't going to have any big announcements. They announced the Series X, surprisingly. So
that's not that big, is it?
I mean, they kept that under wraps. Like nobody knew that was going to happen, which was pretty cool. So we'll probably have a lot more gaming news after Gamescom. I mean, with that, there may be some Quake stuff. There's been I try to dig deep a little bit more into QuakeCon stuff. If anyone, like, they had a lot of developer videos and things you can watch, and every one of them, like id Software is even like, yeah, we're working on something new. Can't say anything, so it's like, okay, don't know what it means, but
it's gotten to the point where I'm kind of sick of developers being like, oh, here's this thing we're working on, and it's like a million years off in the future. Like, Metroid 4 is a thing, supposedly. If you believe Nintendo, I'm not sure I do. Starfield was teased way too early, and at the same time as Starfield was teased, they're all like, oh yes, the Elder Scrolls 6, definitely a thing that's coming, that's happening. It's like, yeah, baloney, bogus. And then last year, freaking EA is like, oh yeah, Mass Effect will continue. We saw that you guys didn't like Andromeda, so we're making Mass Effect 4. That's totally a thing that will exist and will happen as soon as we get somebody at BioWare to return our emails. Like, it's not...
Yeah.
Whatever. Sure. I would prefer if the game companies would tell us about the games when they actually have something to tell us. And so let's just hold off on announcements until then. And if that means that we end up with stuff like QuakeCon that is just, it's an esports tournament basically for Quake because there's nothing really else to talk about, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm chill with that.
I mean, it's good celebration. It really is for people that like Quake, because that's still a huge... People like Quake, the group of people. And Wolfenstein and all of id stuff.
Honestly, if you need to have a BlizzCon that is literally just like the esports stuff, the cosplay competitions, one-on-one chats with the developers, and you can go to booths and do that stuff if you're like in person. And then basically they have like a 30-minute rundown of like, we made these updates to the beta version of Diablo 4. That's it. That's cool. That's fine. Yep. You don't need to tell us crap that's all like, yes, StarCraft 3 in 10 years. No, what? Guys.
Yeah. It's cool. I feel that way with similar like that is like Fable when they announced it with a trailer. And now I'm like, every time I'm like, give me something. Give me. It irritates me when I don't see
nothing. Yeah, so like honestly, thank you for just at QuakeCon, thank you for just having the esport and being like, yeah, sure, there's some stuff's on sale to celebrate Quake and id properties and stuff like that. Like, nice. It's a good convention. Good job. I'm sure they probably did have a cosplay, like, dress up as the Doomslayer or whatever kind of thing. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I didn't watch. I didn't see a lot.
Doom
There's
guy
not...
cosplay, is that a huge thing? I have no idea. But sure, like, do your convention, celebrate your game properties that bring people together. That's awesome. You don't have to have some kind of groundbreaking announcement at these conventions just to get media presence and attention. Like,
yeah,
just do the con. It's cool.
Now, those of you that like to play older id Software games or older Bethesda games that's on the PC, they have actually released a bunch on PC Game Pass that, if you're interested or have played these, so they added more Elder Scrolls, but it's like like older ones. So like they've got Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire. They've added that to Game Pass. They've added Redguard, which is an Elder Scrolls one. It's an older one. They also have added Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Oh.
I played that one a lot back in the day.
That was like the most generic entry in the franchise, I feel like.
Yeah. They also added Quake 4 and a bunch of other just older games. I know they've had like Hexen on there for a while, and obviously that's not that, but it was like that era with that same engine of Quake engine and stuff and Doom engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're feeling like you're a little retro, you can hop on there, and it's right there on there. You can install it if you're a PC Game Pass subscriber. PC Game Pass as well as Game Pass Ultimate. So I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll see. That's kind of really it for the gaming news. Like I said, it's after Gamescom. We'll probably have a decent amount of certain news, like more on games, more seeing more developers. But you never know. There could be that hidden. Oh, by the way, here's this, and it's releasing now. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that on there. So that's really all the game news I have. Let's go ahead and give the time over to Caleb there. What you got for us, buddy?
All right, listener, I'm going to need you to bear with me for a minute, because the things that I'm about to say are not going to sound like they're gaming. They're not going to sound like they're related to anything that anybody has been talking about, but you need the context, okay? So, this past week at hacker convention DEF CON, modders demonstrated a jailbroken John Deere tractor. Okay? John Deere has famously spent years and years locking their tractors down in a way that would make Apple gasp in shock. Okay? Ridiculous anti-consumer behavior from John Deere, and they're an outspoken opponent to the right to repair bills and everything. Again, like everything we have ever said about Apple's need to lock down their devices and keep people from being able to repair and upgrade their own devices and that sort of thing. Everything we have ever said bad about Apple in that regard applies tenfold to John Deere. All right. They are the original jerks in this space. So this means that for a John Deere tractor, for instance, basic repairs require costly service calls that take ages to happen sometimes, locking down a farmer's equipment such that they cannot use it to generate income that they then have to spend in order to pay to have that equipment fixed, when they could have done the repair themselves relatively quickly, or gotten a local repair like service shop out there to fix it without having to wait for the John Deere dealer to actually take care of it. So this jailbreak that they demonstrated at DEF CON bypasses Deere's lockdown. It enables farmers to repair their own tractors and then disable the software lockouts that would have prevented them from running after an unauthorized repair. Essentially, if you repair a John Deere tractor, you fix it, whatever the problem was. If the tractor detects that you've done that, it will shut itself down, and then you have to call a service tech to come out and reset the thing, and then you have to wait. You have the costly service call, the whole 9 yards. It's horrible. Everybody hates it, except for John Deere, who's obviously making a whack ton of money. Yeah. So at this convention, at the convention, as they demonstrated this, one of the first things that they did with the in-cab display that had been jailbroken was play Doom. Doom modders are everywhere.
Yes.
Doing everything. In this case, doing the Lord's work. I'm sure everyone can agree in throwing a middle finger to John Deere over this.
This game that caused politicians to try and like eliminate this game violence thing. Look at the good that this is doing.
Exactly. So that is this week's installment in Doom modders are just the best. Like, I don't know how you can say anything else. Yes, now we have run Doom on a tractor, but in addition to just the technical hurdle of running Doom on a tractor, which honestly with something like a CNH tractor probably is a lot easier than a John Deere tractor, but yeah, it still requires the same kind of reverse engineering of the interfaces and stuff like that on the display in order to figure out how to get the code to execute in the way that you want it to. Like, it's still going to be the same problems as Doom modders have been solving to get Doom running on crap like ATMs and all of these other things that they've been running Doom on for all of this time. So, like, yeah, this is kind of old hat for Doom modders, just getting Doom to run on stuff.
Yeah.
But in this case, the fact that the method that they're using to run Doom also jailbreaks the tractor in a way that will allow farmers to do their own repairs on the machine that they paid $200,000 to $300,000 for. You know what? That is a new level of awesome for Doom modders. So good job, Doom modders. Never change. You are the heroes that we need.
Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that, to be honest.
Yeah,
that is absolutely there is good in this world, and you heard it here. Like, going back to what I said, if these people, because I just listened to the Doom book, not the Doom book, the id Software book that someone did a book on John Carmack and John Romero and the early, anyway, and so you bringing that up, and it's hilarious to me because it's just like, oh man, how much controversy obviously Doom and other games have caused, and they were big in that, but that yet we still have this. If those people or us could have seen what Doom would become, like, yeah. Hey dude, I got this sweet pencil sharpener. Yeah, can it run Doom? No, it's trash then.
It's crap. It's garbage.
Oh my goodness. It's amazing.
I think maybe the most amazing thing to me about it is that if you had talked to, like, say, John Romero at the time, especially John Romero at the time, and said, like, do you think that Doom is going to spawn a franchise? Do you think that this is going to change people's lives 30 years down the road? He probably would have said yes. Like, John Romero expected sequels, reboots, remakes, movies, right, TV shows. That was the expectation John Romero had for the franchise. That was also the expectation John Romero had for, what was it that he went off to make after?
Daikatana.
So John Romero doesn't always know what he's talking about, but he would have been right in the case of Doom. Like, absolutely, he would have expected that. But I think what they would not have expected is 30 years down the road, would you be surprised to hear that people, like literally thousands of people, are still trying to get your game to run on every conceivable piece of computer hardware on the planet? I think they would be surprised by that. I don't think anybody would have predicted that.
It's so funny because in the book, they talked about how, I think it was John Romero, he's like, yeah, we need to get this engine out. We need to like license it, do all this stuff, and make this happen. And then I'm destroying the actual story, but there was four guys, and I remember the two Johns. I can't remember, it was like Anthony and Tom, or anyway, one of them. The other ones was like, no, we need to be careful of this if we do this because, what if people make something and we don't get money from it? And I just remember they said Carmack's like, no, this is the hacker way. Like, give them the source code. Let's do this. Let's make it. Like, what if we didn't do that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it would be so different. What would we be running on tractors now?
I know.
System Shock or something? Like, I don't know.
Oh, man.
It'd be such a different world.
It would.
Instead of killing demons, we'd be killing zombies. Is that what they had in System Shock? They're kind of zombies. I don't know.
Something.
Tech zombies.
Oh, they would put Angry Birds on tractors.
Oh.
No,
I'm
not as
sad
cool.
now.
That is another game that is just everywhere.
It is,
True.
but it's monetized everywhere, and that's the thing that makes me sad.
Yeah. Man, good news, Doom modders.
Yep.
Like we said, don't change.
Yep. Good work.
All right. I think that brings this episode to an end, unless Landon has one more thing that he was hiding from us.
No, I mean, I was just too excited. I couldn't even hide the one thing that I did have. I jumped ahead, and,
It's all right. I
That's
let
fair.
you. It happens. All right. Well, dear listener, if you like what you hear, you enjoy the rants from Caleb, you enjoy the comments from Landon, and how terrible I am at a host, feel free, if you want to support us on Patreon. It would help out. It'd help us out so much, and it would be so awesome. And I would love for you to see the different things we have on the levels of Patreon. Go check out that page. It'd be so awesome. All right. Also, if you want to check us out, or I'm sorry, if you also want to see some videos, you can go to YouTube and check us out on there. You can also, if you want to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us on our social media platforms as well. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.